Tiger Island. We ask that you remain seated throughout the entire presentation.
Tiger Island is a complete animal care facility that provide our tigers with the care they need to live a long and healthy life. The primary purpose of Tiger Island is to raise awareness of the real threat of extinction of tigers in the wild. Through education and fundraising, we can make a positive change to their future. The Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation is the world's largest contributor of money to the globally recognised 21st century tiger, an organisation dedicated to giving wild tigers a future. Thank you for being here and helping us save tigers.
How about a big round of applause for the tiger handlers as they're greeted to Tiger Island by the star of the presentation, the tiger here at Tiger Island. On my right here, Brian is the tiger handler hosting the presentation. Shortly he'll introduce the tiger handlers that are on the island and which tiger we've got out this afternoon. Welcome to Tiger Island. It's great to have you here. Today you're going to witness an awesome display of natural tiger behaviour, where we're going to introduce you to one of the most important wildlife conservation messages that's facing the world today. I'm Wildlife Owl, how are you? They call me that because I love animals, so hands up if you love animals. Notice how the tiger handlers put their hands up. The animal kingdom need people like you folks to keep them safe and ensure they survive. Especially beautiful creatures like this one, who's in position to demonstrate a series of behaviours. So, over to you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks Wildlife Owl. And again, guys, welcome down to Tiger Island. As you can see, we've got one of our beautiful tigers out here. And hopefully this afternoon, we're going to demonstrate some natural behaviours that you will see tigers out there in the wild. And I do say hopefully because we will simply only ask and encourage the tiger to be involved and then reward him with his favourite food. So you'll notice on the side of the handler, there's a big metal pouch. Inside that pouch is full of delicious treats and rewards. And today on offer, we've got some frozen milk from the carton, the tiger's favourite raw meat. Alright, so to quickly introduce the star of the show, guys, we've got the very handsome Khan out for you this afternoon. Now Khan is actually the youngest tiger in our collection. He's about 4.5 years of age, but he's also one of our biggest tigers, actually the biggest tiger, weighing in at a whopping 170 kilograms. So he's one big tiger. Now, he's going to be working with Simon this afternoon, and we've got Scott in the back making sure everything goes nice and smoothly. Now, we have learned, guys, over the years, your reaction and response is also a really great reward for the tigers. So, if you see something that you enjoy, make sure you let Khan know. Lots of clapping, shouting, cheering, screaming, whatever you want to do. So how about on that note, we start with a nice big round of applause for the star of our show. That's what we've got here. Alrighty. So our frozen milk's gone back into the pouch for now. We're going to start the first series of behaviours. And this first one, guys, it's fairly simple. We call it a rise, and it looks like this. Khan getting straight into it, guys. Let's give him a bit of encouragement for that one. Now, normally, we would show you guys the traditional Tiger Island rise up on the handler's shoulders, but Khan is going to demonstrate how they would do it out there in the wild, and that is on the side of trees. Now, that is going to give him a great opportunity to get those out of reach scent markings, but also to rake his very powerful sharp claws down the trunk of that tree. Now, not only will this feel good, it'll stretch out those tendons and those ligaments, it'll also help them lose that outer layer of claw to then expose those new sharp claws. And this will leave a visual indicator on the tree, but once again, scent glands in between the pads of their paw will leave a scent marking for other tigers to find. Now, sometimes tigers, they need to stretch up just that little bit taller, and they're most capable of holding their entire body weight up onto their back legs into what we call the free stance or a fight stance position. Now, guys, this is probably the hardest behaviour we ask them to do with just milk. Let's give it up for Khan, guys. Perfect stuff there. Now, some of our young tigers, they will show this behaviour out here on the island, and generally it's when they're play fighting. When two wild tigers tigers get into the fight stance, they usually mean business. And just like you saw with Khan there, up onto those back legs, that's going to free up those powerful front paws, which will then enable them to strike and knock their opponent off balance to deliver a killing bite with their very large and impressive canine teeth, the killing tool of the tiger. Now with me, I just happen to have a plastic replica of one of these canine teeth, and for an adult tiger, it is roughly 12 to 14 centimeters in length. Pretty impressive, right? Yeah, give him a nice big clap, guys. Now, here at Tiger Island, we're lucky enough to show you the real deal, and very shortly, Simon will present Khan's teeth simply with his hands and a bit of milk as the reward. And this is something the tigers are super comfortable with. We do it from quite a young age. It's a pretty important behaviour to be able to give them a quick mouth inspection. Now, if you guys have a keen eye, you'll probably notice you can only see half of that tooth. The other half is embedded deep into the tiger's skull, and ultimately, that's what gives it their strength. Now, the teeth located right at the back of the jaw are what we refer to as the carnassial teeth, and they're the ones that are used like shears or scissors to slice off chunks of meat that are then swallowed whole. See, tigers, they don't chew or grind out their food like we do. We've got that sideways movement of our bottom jaw. Tigers, they can only move their jaw up and down in one motion, just like your dogs and your cats at home. And this movement allows for a much greater bite force, which is roughly 6 times stronger than our own. Now guys, this does bring us to the end of the milk behaviours. I think these two deserve one more round of applause. I'll pass it back over to you by that well.
Thanks, Ryan. So Ryan's introduced us to tiger characteristics and behaviour. Let's take a short trip back in time, and have a look at the history of these amazing animals. 100 years ago, an unfortunate series of events took place that began the decline of tigers in the wild. A century ago through Southeast Asia, there were over 100,000 tigers roaming wild. A few years ago, there were 4,000 tigers left. There's far fewer now. What do you reckon the main reason of that decline is? Us? Yeah, you're right. As human population has grown, we've displaced tigers from their natural habitat. We continue to remove natural habitat. It's almost inevitable in the past some form of tiger and human conflict would occur. Confronting, yes, but it does demonstrate the impact we as a species had on tigers as a species in the wild. We'll hold that there. Now later in the presentation, Ryan's going to talk about the great work that donations from the Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation go towards. But for the moment, why don't we jump to the next series of behaviours?
Oh, great choice of words as Khan launches across the platforms. Give it up for Khan, guys. Now believe it or not, that is a pretty simple jump for a tiger. It is only 3 metres from one platform to the next. They're actually capable of jumping distances of up to 6 metres. Out there in the wild, that's when they're going to be chasing down their prey. We have managed to measure jumps to that extent out here. If you guys were wondering, the distance across the moat in front of you is 6 metres and 1 centimetre, so you're perfectly safe. We haven't had a tiger jump out for months now. Alright, watch Carl in these last couple of jumps. Watch his tail. It does a lot of the work. He's going to flick it forward, over his back. That's just going to give him that extra bit of forward momentum, that extra bit of motion, just making that jump just that little bit easier. And this is going to be Khan's final jump, guys. We're a little bit distracted today. Probably noticed that the island is looking quite different if you've been here before. We have had quite a few trees come down. It's quite a different environment for the cat, so he's still getting used to it. But let's give it up for Khan, guys. Awesome work out there. Alrighty, we're going to slow things down a bit now. We're going to move to our next method of training. It's a bit more of a formal training technique that tigers use, and it's something that we refer to as mark training. So you'll notice that Simon has just picked up these mark boards, and essentially they're just square bits of wood. Now, those bits of wood are then placed onto the ground and used as an indicator of position for the tigers. So Khan knows if he goes and walks up, places those 2 front paws on those boards, he will be rewarded for it. It's quite a simple training method to use. As you can see, they love to get involved. It takes very little effort to receive that food. Now, for us as keepers, it is super useful when doing any health checks on the tigers. So, things like taking blood samples, temperatures, yearly vaccinations. We can even do more complicated procedures like x-rays on the tigers, because they're fully awake and alert. You can also see he's quite capable of moving from point A to point B with a simple hand cue or verbal command. Well, this has helped us over the years when the tigers have been involved in various types of media work. So things like TV shows, commercials, feature films. It's one of the ways we raise extra money to tiger conservation to help those wild tigers. Now, wildlife owl, he mentioned it a bit before. Fortunately, out there, tigers are an endangered species, with less than 4,000 left in the wild. Unfortunately, the two biggest threats they currently face, habitat loss and poaching. Believe it or not, their body parts are still being used in traditional medicine, and whilst there's demand for these body parts, tigers are going to continue to remain under threat. Now, through the Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation and from donations from people such as yourselves, we are able to help organisations that go out there in the wild to help educate people about tiger and human conflicts, but also that tiger body parts, they have no medicinal benefit. We're currently sponsoring some anti-poaching patrols over in Far Eastern Russia and Sumatra, and it's pretty devastating to see the illegal activity that's still going on to this day. However, this is where your money's going to, and it's great to see the amazing work the rangers are doing out in the field. Now, this is work we are quite passionate about. If you guys do want to get involved today, there are a couple ways you can. Easiest way possible, you'll notice on your way out of the island, there's a couple of donation boxes scattered around. If you've got any spare change, pop it in the boxes. 100% of the money will go towards tigers in the wild. It doesn't go towards tigers like Khan here. Dreamworld already does a great job of that. If not, jump on the website. You can help from an online donation or through the Adopt a Tiger program, where again, all of those fees will go towards wild tigers. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful, but it is the more serious side of what we actually do here at Tiger Island. However, you guys came this afternoon to see some pretty spectacular behaviours, right? And you have been a little bit quiet, so I would like to hear in your loudest voices, who out there wants to see a tiger climb this tree?
Yes, please.
You guys are up today. We have one of our best tree climbers, and I'm not talking about Simon, I'm talking about Khan. So get your cameras ready and focused on that climbing pole. Up he goes. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the top, guys. Give it up for Khan. Now that's about a 9-metre pole, and he did that about 3.5 strides. So pretty impressive stuff. And this is what makes Khan one of our best tree climbers. He has the sense of mind to shimmy all the way down to a nice distance before he lets go. And guys, keep your cameras ready and focused for the call there, because we're not quite done yet with our spectacular behaviours to finish the show. As Khan goes down under to receive that bit of chicken. Let's give him a nice big clap, guys. That was pretty special. You see, he's pretty keen to get into that pool today. We haven't had too many shows lately, so he's pretty keen to be involved in the presentation this afternoon. And normally we like to let him sink all the way to the bottom. He was pretty keen to get in. Now, that was a pretty easy way to get into the pool, guys. But I'm hoping we can end the show with a bit more of a splash. What do you guys reckon? Alrighty, no pressure, Simon. So we're just going to ask Khan quite nicely to hop back out of the pool for a bit of red meat. And he is nice and wet. Once the cats do get nice and wet, they're a bit more motivated to get back into the pool. And again, hopefully with a nice juicy bit of chicken drumstick, which is their favourite motivation, we can get Khan to do a nice big launch into the pool to finish the presentation. You can see Simon's just lining him up. What do you reckon, Khan? He's going to find that bit of red meat. The grass is looking a bit long. So, here we go. Nice big jump to finish the show! Oh, guys, not a bad effort, guys. Let's give it up for Khan. Nice big clap and finish.
And please keep that applause going for our tiger handlers, right on the microphone. Simon was working hard today, and Scott was the safety backup. Very skilled, knowledgeable tiger handlers, some of the most experienced in the world. We are lucky to have them. Well, that brings us to the end of our Tiger Island presentation. We hope you've enjoyed observing natural tiger behaviour. You've got a clearer understanding of this really important conservation message facing the world today. Hey, before you go, you know those men from Sumatra in the Tiger Conservation Unit who found the tiger trap? They've got a message for you up on the big screen.